We're with Coach Dave Leitao. Coach, if you want to make an opening statement, we'll open it up for some questions.
All set?
Yeah, he just said if you want to make an opening statement.
Huh?
He just said if you want to make an opening statement.
Okay. Quite obviously, when you end the season and you end it on a loss, regardless if it was a night like tonight or a 1-point loss, it's disappointing. I don't think we came close to playing our best game. I was concerned at the first TV timeout just because the energy was different than it was last night. And, what happened after that is we didn't, we lost some of our fight. That being said, Connecticut had a lot to do with it. As we close the season, I think it's really important for me to continue to understand, what last year when the season ended abruptly in this building, and 1 year later, what has transpired for our kids, and not just our kids, but kids playing basketball or football or lacrosse or soccer, or any sport across the country. And that, if anybody knows me, I'm really, really big into and concerned about emotional wellness and the things that, they've been through. This team in particular has been nothing short of extremely challenging. To ask, I got the good fortune, I got a lovely family that I can see them nightly, but, most, if not all of these kids haven't seen their mom or their dad or their sister or their brother or, since July. And so it puts every coaching staff, and I've talked to a lot of coaches who share the same sentiments, in that, when you're coaching, you push a lot of buttons, and there are times where you have to empathize with what these guys are going through or have been through, to be asked to do the things that they've been asked to do in an unprecedented situation, anywhere from, as I said, not seeing friendly faces or a home-cooked meal to isolation to all the things that go into the season. And then the other half of it as a coach or coaching staff is you got to continue to challenge them to do right and do better, both on and off the court. So there's an every day and every week balance between, what you have to go through to empathize or to challenge. And it's a really difficult thing to balance, especially when there's not a playbook on what we've been through. So, as we close the season, that has been, amongst all the other things. And because we're in the entertainment business, I don't know when you turn on the television or you follow a team or your favorite team that you really could understand, what these guys have been through. And in any sport, basketball in particular, you just have to be off by this much in order to make a big difference, whether it's a defensive rotation or a free throw. If you're off by that much, and so, hopefully we'll be past this time that we're in sooner rather than later, so that we can, have some accumulated normalcy, which is what everybody needs. As far as, our opponent, and I go back and thinking about Danny and what he's done in a short period of time at Connecticut, which is, to follow both Kevin Ollie, who did a wonderful job in the national championship, and Coach Calhoun, who had 3 national championships, is not an easy deal. But, he was raised in White Eagle Hall. And for those that don't know or never been, White Eagle Hall is a little small, undersized gym that his father, coached the greatest high school team in along with DeMatha in the history of high school basketball. So he learned basketball at an early age and how it's supposed to be played. And this team that he has here epitomizes that. They've got a tremendous backcourt and an out pitch and Book Knight, and didn't have to have a great game today, but everybody on the team played well. But if you watch them on film and you study them, rarely do they make mistakes defensively. They're tough. They're physical enough. They beat us up on the backboard, which is the essence of, how the game is supposed to be played, but most importantly, how he learned the game. In the era of three-point shooting, sometimes it gets lost, and you got to make those shots. You got to shoot from the perimeter. I know that in today's basketball, but, there's certain things that are necessary to win. And Danny has brought that to that program, and carrying on with a tradition that has made, that program, particularly at Madison Square Garden, one of the best in Big East history. So my message to him was, if you're going to come to New York and you're not going to bring the fans from Fairfield County or West Hartford to drink a lot and have a good time and cheer you on, then you better win this thing. In the tradition of UConn basketball, and what he's learned about that, and about how he's grown through this business, that a byproduct of that is to win. And so that was my message to him. So good luck to them the rest of the way, and for us, we'll kind of get back home and exhale a little bit and bring this challenging journey to season's end.
Take questions now. Tom Canavan, AP.
Hey, Dave, you saw this team in December and January. How much different are they now?
I'm sorry, Jan. I saw you said something about
you
January.
You saw Connecticut in December and January. Are they much different now?
Connecticut, you talking about? Yeah, I mean, just the season. I think the two things that are really important. They've been through a lot of pauses in their own challenges, and they've been resilient enough emotionally to still be here. I can probably tell you, just like every other team, Danny has his concerns about different guy on a different day, if he's locked in emotionally or not. But what they've done the last 4 games of the season and tonight was a byproduct of getting past what challenges they faced when they were on pause and they weren't. I remember the home game to Creighton, in which they lost, and it was a down to the wire game. I think they're a totally different team because, one, emotionally they've gotten past all those things that can be distractions to a lot of other people. Secondly, is that like everybody else, they have a definition to them. Defensively, I don't know that anybody that I've seen, particularly if we played against that, plays better ball screen defense than them. That can close out to shooters and then attack both backboards the way they do. And then offensively, as I said, the most of them, and this is a really hard thing to do, are involved in what they do offensively and don't take a back seat. And it's really hard sometimes emotionally when you play with a superstar or a budding superstar like Book Knight and not want your turn, but it works well. And I think what's happened from early in the season to now, both physically and emotionally, speaks to that.
Dan Stack, go.
Coach, you probably agree with me. I think this game was probably lost on the boards. You faced them twice. Did you prepare your team to match their tenacity on the boards? And can you tell me what went wrong with that?
Well, 2 nights in a row, that's been Providence's, part of the definition of who they are is their ability to rebound, and we beat them by double figures. And talking about it in a quick turnaround, because this morning or this afternoon we were talking about the game and scouting report and all that. The one thing that we said first was rebounding, and how to carry it over from last night to tonight. But you can't go through box out drills. You can't go through physicality. You just have to make sure that they understand how important it is. And to their credit, they beat us up pretty bad on the backboards because they went after it. And I don't know that we matched it with any level of physicality in terms of box outs and pursuing the basketball. So it quite honestly got a little out of hand in terms of their ability to play ping pong on the backboards and our lack of resiliency that way.
Let's go to Lawrence Kramer, DePaul.
Coach, what do you, moving forward, what do you think the future looks like for the program after tonight's game?
The future, I mean, the future for me is tomorrow. I think getting back home, and the first thing is to rest. These guys, as I mentioned, have been through more than anybody could ever imagine. So they need an opportunity to exhale. We've got to complete our finals. We're getting ready for final exams or in final exams for some. And then, like every other team has to go through, is, you know, figuring themselves out. And this is such a strange year because you got to address, you know, normally you say goodbye to your seniors, and you got to address that situation. And then you got to be able to start, you know, work after that rest period on what we didn't have last year, which is a spring and a summer to kind of figure out, you know, how best to improve.
Last question, Tim Best.
Dave, you spoke about how difficult the circumstances of this season were, and I don't think anyone in the country had it as tough as you guys, not being able to start the season until 2 days before Christmas. So my question to you is, you know, how much credit do you give to your guys for navigating such a difficult season physically, emotionally, as you look back on everything now as your season has come to a close tonight?
Yeah, are you talking more about our team or teams in general, or
about your team and the struggles you had to go through, like not starting until 4 weeks?
Yeah. So, you know, based on that, again, if anybody knows me, I'm not an excuse guy, but you never having the ability to get your legs under you, you know, and get a rhythm from that. I said to a couple of people, and I didn't really focus on that until I was looking at it this week, that, you know, we did not have one practice. We got 13 guys on scholarship. One is redshirting because of an ACL injury. So we have 12. Did not have one practice out of the approximately 80 practices where all 12 guys were on the floor at the same time. So all the things that you need other than the obvious, which is, you know, talent or skill or all those things, which you know, hopefully you have enough of. There's those other things that you know, provide you with opportunities to grow: chemistry, resiliency, you know, knowing each other inside and out, the things that you do as a team, you know, that we couldn't do either. And, you know, having guys over my house as a team, or going out, going bowling, or things that come naturally that create a bond and a chemistry, particularly with us because we had so many new people, was challenging. But, you know, if you know me, or anybody knows me, that to me is an excuse. And so you still have to fight. You know, this is a difficult time we're living in, and some people will deal with it better than others. So when given the choice, I'm going to try as best I can to teach everybody how to deal with it and come out ahead. But it definitely, you know, not just for us. If you look around the country, you know, I watched Notre Dame, and they haven't had the kind of year that they're typical of, and they hit a game-winning shot first round, they lose by 40 or 50 the next night. That's not Notre Dame as you would normally know it to be. So there's a number of programs that weren't defined this year by who they normally are, win, lose, or draw. And I think that's been, you know, a challenge again for each and every one of the guys across the country who've had to endure, you know, a season like this.
Dave, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Thank you.